My God, why hast thou forsaken me? Why art thou so far from helping me? And from the words of my warring, O my God, I cry in the daytime, but thou hearest not. And in the night season I am not silent. But thou art holy, O thou that inhabitest the praises of Israel. Our fathers trusted in thee. They trusted, and thou didst deliver them. They cried unto thee and were delivered, and they trusted in thee and were not confounded. But I am a worm and no man, a reproach of men and despise of people. And they that see me laugh to scorn. They shoot out the lip. They shake the head, saying, He trusted in the I am, that he would deliver him. Let him deliver him, seeing he delighted in him. But thou art he that took me out the womb. Thou didst make me hope when I was upon my mother's breast. I was cast upon thee from the womb, and thou art my God from my mother's belly. Be not far from me, for trouble is near, for there is none to help. Many bulls have compassed me, strong bulls of Bashan have beset me round. They gaped upon me with their mouths, and ravening as a roaring lion. I am poured out like water, and all my bones are out of joint, and my heart is like wax. It is melted in the midst of my bowels. My strength is dried up like a potsherd, and my tongue cleaveth to my jaws, and thou hast brought me to the dust of the earth. For dogs have compassed me, and the assembly of the wicked have enclosed me. They pierced my hand and my feet. I may tell all my bones, and they took stare upon me, and they part my garments among them, and they cast lots upon my vestures. Be not far from me, O I am, O my strength, hasty to help me. Psalms chapter 22, verses 1 through 19. Deliver me from the hands of evil spirits who have sway over the thoughts of men's hearts, and let them not lead me astray from thee, my God. Establish thou me, my seed, that we go not astray henceforth and forevermore. Jubilees chapter 12 and verse 20. Yes, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Yes, yes, yes. And we always say a praise. All praises to the Most High. He that delivers us out of the mire. He that delivers us from our enemies. He that causes us to stand above those. Even set us upon a rock, that when our enemies are round about us, he there will make them stumble and fall. Because we have trusted in our God. Yes, our God, who is omnipotent, who reigns, who is most powerful than whatever man can invent power from. Yes, and thinking that God is antiquated. But God is yet far beyond their imagination. Even if you look in the mirror, you'll see the technology of God at work. Yes, we thank God for you, and you. And there's something about this here Psalms. Many Christians and stuff, they use this thing and they try to bring it upon. Look at the part of his death. He's gonna go back in this Psalm. He said, my God, why hast thou forsaken me? In other words, this is supposed to be the words of Josephus when this was written way before Josephus was there. They said, oh, it's a prophecy. Oh, really? This is David talking to God. Did they not take the clothes of David and part them too? Not just who they call the son of David. A man that whose God is his biological father, or some angel, or who is we don't know who his biological father is, because he's bio, period. We don't know who his father that formulated him is. We know God created man, and he made a law that man should copulate and reproduce after his kind. We know that. But look at here. This was think about it, way before he even was crucified. My God, my God. And then you get in the coastal language, it says, Eloi, Eloi, sanamaratni. Now, in the coastal language, it says this is for the Sabbath keepers. So you got two languages. You got many languages here, to Latin and to Xhosa. Then they try to translate it to different African languages, and then they go back to the English. My God, why has forsaken me? Eloi, Eloi. This is what the Xhosa people would say in their ancient language. Today, they've changed that too. They've deceived the whole world. But yet, let us go and investigate. Investigate. I would adjure you, if you want to understand what I'm talking about, go to type in Johnny John on your YouTube channel, and she would give you something about this. Look it up. The Sabbath. Yes, the Sabbath. And this saying right here, my God, why hast thou forsaken thee? Now with that, we're in the book of 1 Samuel chapter 20. Moving right along, of 31 chapters. But that's nothing to us how many chapters we have to read. The fact is that the Most High, the history is being read. The laws are being read, and we revisit the laws through the history. But my God, why hast thou forsaken me? This was a Psalm of David. You can see the literary, and it was a song. It was a song how that they were so evil that they even parted his garments. And the fact is, and then they attributed unto the Isis. This is why, in my own, hypothesis, educated guess by the things that you see and I read to you, is to know that it's false. Now, in chapter 20 and verse 1, we read, and David fled from Naioth in Ramah and came and said before Jonathan, what have I done? What is mine iniquity? What is my sin before thy father, that he seeketh my life? Haven't you asked that question about people that are jealous of you or that hate you for no cause? Or just see you walking down the street? What's your problem? Does it mean that you fight them? No, don't fight them. Leave them alone. God got that. But the fact is that why do you hate me? Why are you so in contest with me? Why do you argue with me and you have your saying? Is it because I'm educated and you not? Or I have some hidden knowledge? Or I'm doing something that you can't do? Look at you. And me, I grew up very poor. Grew up in Chicago, and we didn't have no clothes. It was 8 of us. We were still working around like those back in the South. We had to put cardboard in our shoes. But there were those who hated us. It was a nice neighborhood that my grandmother lived in because my mother, she could not afford anything. So she took her in and nurtured us. But the fact is that we didn't have the best of things. We had holes in our pants. Now today, it's a thing that you have holes in your knees and all this stuff. Well, we had to we had to buy patches and put them on our knees. Nowadays, it doesn't matter. That's cool. And we had those, and yet those who hated. I had fights of people who just hated me. Maybe because I was poor, or maybe because, I don't know, they had some type of, what have I done to these people? Some of them I haven't even known. And you ask yourself, jealousy is cruel as the grave. And he said unto him, God forbid thou shalt not die. Behold, my father will do nothing, either great nor small, but that he will show it to me. And why should my father hide this thing from me? It is not so. And David sware moreover and said, thy father certainly knoweth that I have found grace, favor. Not only comes from God, but grace can come from you toward whoever you deem favorable, according to those that please you. We have to please God. We have to have confidence in God. Those who have confidence in you and that they're your friend and they do things to please you and, be there and treat you nice, you're going to have grace toward them. Even as Jonathan had grace toward David. Yes, he had grace. And he said, thy father certainly know that I found grace in thine eyes. In other words, we friends. And he said, let not Jonathan know this, lest he be grieved. But truly as the I am liveth and as thy soul liveth, there is but a step between me and death. This is such a true saying. Between you and me and all the whole world, there's just a step between us and death. So who are we more than the other person? Just humble David. You are just a step. There's a step just between you and death. You in separation from your body. Which is what it means. You're scared? Why? This is a thing that is normal. Death is a part of life, and from the day we're born, we're mortal. There's mortality. It's just a matter of when and how. That's all. Yes. But it's by the Most High, His mercy, that we are allowed to live. I'm not going to say grace. I'm not going to get into these religious factions. I'm going to say His mercy. He didn't say His grace endureth forever. He said His mercy endureth forever. You got to call a buck a buck. Man, you get into these religious jargons. Oh, I'm highly... No, you ain't. You ain't no highly favored. Religious jargon, something to make a person feel good. And they'll just cuddle up right to you. You say things that make people feel good instead of just telling the truth. I'm more your friend than your friend because I'm going to tell you the truth. You're mortal. You're death doomed. Even the young. Then said Jonathan unto David, whatsoever thy soul desireth, I will do it for thee. And David said to Jonathan, behold, tomorrow is the new moon. Oh, here we go up again. The new moon. We heard that in the book of Jasher. We heard it in the book of Jubilees. The new moon means what? The new month. Let's continue. Here's another truth. He said, and I should not fail to sit with the king. So apparently Saul had a feast the first day of each month. He had a feast to go. He had a feast with his family every new month. See, they understood the stars and when the moon was new and when there was a full moon and a new moon. A full moon, some of you have just gotten crazy. It's just like saying, I'm a new man because I reached 35 and the span of a man is 70 years according to the word. But the fact is that you said, I am new at 35. You are old, rusted, hairy. No, let me quit it. But either way, new, coming out of darkness, coming out of the womb, coming from behind is the moon. When it first appeared, that is the new moon. That is what analogy of the new moon. Have you any English aptitude with you? Apparently not. How can you be of such, should I say, educational status that you cannot understand and discern the new moon? The new moon is when the moon has come behind a planet or the sun or something, and then this darkness, just a brief moment of darkness comes. And then all of a sudden, at a certain point of time, it appears from behind it, it's a sliver of light. That is the newness of the moon. Then it begins to come out more and more until it gets to its fullness, and then it starts to diminish again behind this planet or the sun again. Excuse me. That is the new moon. Let's call a buck a buck. Stop gaslighting. You know what the new moon is. Now, and he said now in verse 5, we're going to keep going here. He says, tomorrow is a new moon, and that I should not fail to sit with the king at meat. You know, we're going to have dinner in the new moon. But let me go that I may hide myself in the field unto the third day at evening, or in the evening, if you want to use correct English. Now, if thy father at all miss me, then say David earnestly asked leave of me that he might run to Bethlehem, his city, for there is a yearly sacrifice for all the family. Now, what's this new moon, a new year, or just a new month? And if he says, thus, it is well, thy servant shall have peace. But if he be very wroth, then be sure that evil is determined by him. Therefore thou shalt deal kindly with thy servant, for thou hast brought thy servant into a covenant of the I am with thee. Notwithstanding, if there be in me iniquity, slay me thyself, for why shouldest thou bring me to thy father? In other words, he knew his father Saul was oppressed by an evil spirit. There are 3 steps to demon possession. Now, you had some Catholics. These were Catholic. It was of the Catholic belief system, the Christians, whatever you want to call it. But they understood one thing. There were 3 things to demon possession. There was depression. That was the first step, when a person gets depressed. And then there's oppression of the devil. I mean, he starts moving little things around and doing all things and stuff like that. He's messing with your mind. This is for those who don't believe. Basically, if you don't believe God, if you don't believe spirituality, they got you. Then there's possession, to whether they get you so much that you just you lose your mind and you give up. Either it's going to result in death, mental breakdown, the mental illness, which only the doctors see as a physical thing, but it's really a spiritual thing. The reason I know this is because this one guy when I was young in the military, he was clinically unconscious. Alcoholism. He was a very bad alcohol. I don't know what reason he was in alcoholism, but the fact is, not only did this guy come to me that this guy he was physically unconscious, but yet this guy told the nurses about themselves and cursed them, being physically unconscious. This guy was at the verge. He was at demon possession, where this demon could talk, use his mouth and his eyes and everything, while he yet being clinically unconscious. So don't get it wrong and call these things non-existent, for they are existent. And he says right here, he says, therefore thou shalt deal kindly with thy servant, for thou hast brought thy servant into a covenant of the I am with thee. If there be an iniquity in me, slay me thyself. This is what he's saying. We both have an agreement with each other. And if I'm wrong, if I'm deceitful, slay me. Let's go to verse 9. And Jonathan said, far be from thee. For if I knew certainly that evil were determined by my father to come upon thee, then would not I tell it thee? Then said David to Jonathan, who shall tell me? Or what if thy father answered thee roughly? And Jonathan said unto David, come and let us go out into the field. That they went out, both of them, into the field. And Jonathan said unto David, O Yahuwah, God of Israel, when I have sounded my father, not no mother. You have some of the Congolese people, some of them, they would say, God, these people are basically what you say of Egyptian persuasion, Egyptian type persuasion. And you're gonna have to overlook that and see that God, he deals with the man. God, there is no she in God. God nurtures. Yes, people, just because you nurture don't mean you're feminine. Just because a woman has to protect her child or do things that a man would do doesn't mean that she's masculine. Come on here. God is neither nor. God is God, but yet he invented the man first. Therefore, everything that he does is after the man, period. Now, says now on verse 13, and the I am do so. He says now, let me go back to 12. I'm getting a little past myself. And the I am God of Israel, when I have sounded my father tomorrow any time, or the third day, The third day, what? After the new moon. The new moon is the first day. The new moon at even is the first day, is what he's saying. Let's continue. 7 days after that is the Sabbath. They kept that thing all the way from coming out of Egypt. But we have been so foolish to go with this Greco-Roman system, being deceived when God tried to reveal to us the true way. And what's going to happen in the future is that when Israel is collected with each other, you're going to be lost, or your siblings or your children are going to be lost, because you've always stuck with the full moon or the Greco-Roman calendar. Now, we can go by those as far as dealing with the world, but as far as with God, his Sabbath is 7 days after the new moon, which is the new month. Wherever vicinity you is, the new moon is the new moon, regardless. If it catches up to you a day after somebody else, doesn't mean you have to do it their time. The new moon is there for you. That's the time of rest. That's the time of things being new. Now, the New Year is a whole different thing here. Now, it's not on the 1st of December, please. But either way, if it please my Father to do the evil, then I will show it to you. In verse 13 I am. And send thee away, that thou mayest go in peace, and the I am be with thee, as he has been with my Father. And thou shalt not only, while yet I live, show me kindness of the I am, that I die not, but also that thou should not cut off kindness from the house, my house, forever. For know not when the I am hath cut off the enemies of David, every one from the face of the earth. This is not a prophecy. Thank you. So Jonathan made a covenant with the house of David, saying, let the I am even require that the hand of David's enemy. In other words, David, when you come into power, don't take it upon my offspring. Don't take it upon my seed. They knew these things that they were versed in. Everything referred to the I am. Everything referred to seed and the man and the woman, which was valuable, and that she kept his seed, and even to those would even have seed to offer to another male, that the nation may continue. Yes, and so after thou shalt not cut off thy kindness from my house forever, no, not when the I am have cut off the enemies of David, every one from the face of the earth. So Jonathan made a covenant with the house of David, saying, let the I am even required at the hand of David's enemy. And Jonathan caused David to swear again, because he loved him, for he loved him as he loved his own soul, according to the law, statutes, commandments, and ordinances of the Most High, not effeminacy. Thank you. Now, to make it correct. Then Jonathan said to David, tomorrow is the new moon. Tomorrow. They were talking before the month before this new moon. It's the new moon. We're still getting on the Sabbath, but yet we're going back in history showing what's happening. A lesson in the law. One of the first laws. The law toward our, should I say, obligation to God if you're of the children of Jacob. I ain't talking about the world. Let them go. Let them go with their women and their praising of women and all these other things they do. Let them go. Push them. They say they are of the God of Israel. Get away from me. You're not even of the God of Israel that you praise and worship women. Even so, it says in the Bible, it's so like women shall lead you. Those with effeminate spirits and all kind of, even women themselves, and children shall be your oppressors. This is happening today. The mind of a child and the Egyptian type mindset. Oh, they've got you real good. Strong delusion here. Now I will shoot thee 3 arrows in verse 20 on the side. No, let's go to 19. And when thou hast stayed 3 days, thou shalt go down quickly. 3 days after the new moon is what he's saying. Because tomorrow, they were talking the day before the new moon. He said, thou shalt be missed, because there's going to be a dinner, and he's going to look for David, because thy seat will be empty. And when thou hast stayed 3 days, when thou go down quickly and come to the place where thou didst hide thyself, when the business was at hand, and shall remain by the stone of Ezel. And I will shoot 3 arrows on the side, as though I shot at a mark. And behold, I will send a lad, saying, Go and find out the arrows. If I expressly say unto the lad, Behold, the arrows are on the side of thee, take them. Then thou, for there is peace to thee, no hurt, as the I am liveth. But if I say thus unto the young man, Behold, the arrows are beyond thee, go thy way, for the I am hath sent thee away. As touching the matter which thou and I have spoken of, behold, the I am, or Yahuwah, be between thee and me forever. So David hid himself in the field, and when the new moon was come, the king sat down at meat. Usually the new moon can happen. You don't really see it, but you can tell by the day before at night. You can see the moon going, the nights are just darker. That's about all. And you look at the moon. If you can't see the moon, you can tell if the nights are darker. And many times this was the duties of the Levitical priest to keep up with the days and times and seasons and moons. And also with the state of Israel. They did these things. There was a time of prayer in some parts of Israel when the true Israelites were there. There was a time of prayer. It's not just the Islamic people that had to have a time for prayer. You have to realize a lot of these people make up their stuff reading the Old Testament and then coming to an assumption that we should do it this way. Second guessing God. If you want to go by prayer, just don't say God told you to do it. But even Daniel prayed 3 times a day. So if you want to pray 5 times, 10 times, every hour, it doesn't matter. The fact is that that's not a new religion or a new belief system. Only the true belief system or the true government of the whole world is the laws, statutes, commandments, and ordinances of the Most High. They are the true standards and laws of the universe. Yes. And the king sat upon his seat as other times upon his seat by the wall, and Jonathan rose, and Abner sat by Saul's side, and at David's place was empty. Nevertheless, Saul spake not anything that day, for he thought something had befallen him. He is not clean. Surely he is not clean. Now it came to pass on the morrow, which was the 2nd day of the month, that David's place was empty. And Saul said unto Jonathan, his son, Wherefore cometh not the son of Jesse to meet, neither yesterday nor today? And Jonathan answered Saul, David earnestly asked leave of me to go to Bethlehem. They were lying, yes, to save his life. And he said, Let me go, I pray thee, for our family hath a sacrifice in the city, and my brother, he hath commanded me to be there. And now if I found favor in thy eyes, let me get away, I pray thee, and see my brother. And therefore he cometh not unto the king's table. And Saul's anger was kindled against Jonathan, and he said unto him, Thou son of a perverse, rebellious woman, do not I know that thou hast chosen the son of Jesse to thine own confusion, and to the confusion of thy mother's nakedness? For as long as the son of Jesse liveth upon the ground, thou shalt not be established, nor thy kingdom. Wherefore now send and fetch him unto me, for he shall surely die. Now he knew that David, now at this point we have a pure glimpse that he knows that David was going to replace him as king over all the 12 tribes of Israel. And Jonathan answered Saul his father and said unto him, Wherefore shall he be slain? What hath he done? In other words, this is my friend. What has he done to be slain? But your jealousy, but your envy. So by where you strive with him. Come on here. And Jonathan answered Saul his father and said, and Saul cast a javelin at him, at his own son, to smite him. Whereby Jonathan knew that it was determined of his father to slay David. This man hated this devil, this one that had volunteered to be one that should obsess Saul with the demise of David. The jealousy and the fear and the doubt. There's spirituality in everything you do in this world. To tell you the truth, there's spirituality. We're going to leave it at this, at verse 34. So Jonathan rose from the table in fierce anger and did eat no meat the second day of the month. That's after the new moon. For he was grieved. As at evening. In the evening, the first day is from evening to the next evening. Now after that evening, he went to David. For he was grieved for David because his father had done him shame. When your father comes against you, we ended at verse 34. 1 Samuel chapter 20, verse 34. There are 40. I can go on, but I don't think that would be too kind of long and drawn out. But either way, it's all good. I can keep going. But the fact is that this new moon, they understood it back then, touching on the Sabbath. They understood the new moon back then on the Sabbath. 7 days after the new moon is the Sabbath. The new moon is established after the moon have gone into darkness behind the sun, and then it comes back out. This is the simplicity of the new moon. Some of you are very good scholars and everything, but you have been deceived by the devils, the Satans, and caused yourself to believe that the new moon is the full moon because it's in its fullness. A baby doesn't come out of his mother's womb grown. Well, she'll bust wide open. The foolishness of what you believe is brought to light. It's foolish. So therefore, there was a little light down on the ground with Jonathan and David, and Jonathan at evening before the daylight, before the night hit, he had done his thing with the young man. But nevertheless, jealousy. This is about jealousy, not just in its intricate forms. Jealousy. You have to understand, even those of your own household, why they're acting like this. They're jealous. Not for you to get angry. Not for you to, you have to watch yourself, protect yourself, yes. Even if you have to put them down or tie them up or whatever you have to do, shoot them or whatever you want to call it. It's cruel as the grave, even amongst siblings, amongst family. Be careful. Even your own children, to the point where some they've taken and said, you didn't do what I asked you to do. But I'm playing my game. I'm playing my game. This is this child's or this woman's or man's way of a certain authority of their own, those in their own household. Whether the one is providing or whatever, we all have a chore to do as far as that's concerned. But the fact is that understand this cruelty of jealousy, not only in the domestic area, but city. Then you have state, then you have continent. Cruel as the grave. Why do you think they come against Africa? Jealousy. God has given them all the resources. So they dumb them down, make their leaders docile. And not only there, but even here in the United States, different parties dumbing down the states. And many of the governors are not even looking toward their people to say, no, we are not going to do this anymore. We have our people to look after. They are our protection. They are our lucrativeness. They are our monies. They work. We have industries. We have this. But you're causing people to move out of your own country. Why are they coming so far from Argentina and different places to come to the United States? There's nothing here, really. And then they can go back. We had a family gathering. There's an agenda here that's not of domestic, should I say, it's not of planning. It's not of domestic planning, neither of state planning. But this federal planning, something happening here. But with all that, we're going to say, trust in the Most High. Fret not thyself because of evildoers. Don't fret because of evildoers. Don't worry about the poor. Don't worry about those who oppose themselves. But you know who your God is and stand on his commandments, statutes, and ordinances and laws. And you will have peace.
Walk with me.